Now I'm gonna show you how I created the materials inside Substance Painter. It's really easy actually. So you can see here it's not on the highest resolution. If I'm not wrong, these textures are on 2K only. Let's see here. Yeah, I've exported them in 4K, but Substance Painter allows you to export in up to 8K. Here we can render with iRay. It's really fast, improves our workflow so much. We can try various kinds of HDRI, like this default. Can try this cave entry forest. It's really nice. These materials are without displacement, so all you are seeing here is only normal map. And let's exit this array, and I will make a quick painted wood texture so you can see better how I used to work. One thing that is nice is all the Substance workflow is non-destructive, so you can make a lot of procedural things and go back and forth, and you'll never lose anything. You can also work on lower resolutions and later, or only at the time of the export, raise them. Working on 4K is really heavy. Even my Titan X and my GTX 1080 struggle a little bit to work, so I always let the textures on 2K and only raise this when I export. So one thing that you should keep in mind is that Substance needs information to work well. What I mean is we have to feed Substance with the normal map and ambient occlusion. At least you can feed with any other textures, but this normal map and this ambient occlusion I've exported from ZBrush. So we have this nice details to start work with. So let's erase this. If we load the normal map and ambient occlusion, we can bake maps, and of course deselecting the normal map and AO slots. Then the Substance will calculate the other maps based on the information you give to it. So let's bake this. It's really fast also. In this way we can work with mask, and I will show you. Let's create a fill layer. It's great that you have a lot of materials to work, and also the Substance share is amazing. Many artists share their materials there, so you can download them and mix with yours and create a lot of variations. There are infinite possibilities in this software. So, okay, let's create a fill layer and put some directional noise on the base color. Change this to triplanar projection, so now you can see that everything is projected in this horizontal way. Let's make this style a little bit. I will add a filter with a gradient to control the color of this noise. So let's create the base wood here. You can put another one on the high slot and control this, adding levels and saying that these levels will control only the height. So now we can make it really subtle. You have space wood. We can also do this for roughness. Now we have variation here. Add levels and say that we will control the roughness, so we can make the range lower. So let's control here. We have some nice highlights here. Let's change the color of the base wood because it's not looking good. I think now it's nice. This base wood is way too shiny. Let's lower this here. Okay, now I think it's good. You can add a lot of layers on top of each other. The masks here are amazing. I mean, the way that it behaves. Okay, for this demonstration, I think it's good enough, this base. Let's add some paint on top of it. I will create another layer. And let's organize this. Base wood, paint layer. I will create a group for the paint. Let's choose a color for our paint. You can say that it will be blue also. Okay. And again, you can put any of these procedurals and grunges you want to on the color slots, like this one for instance. Let's say here, add a gradient filter, gradient, and shows the color. Now we're going to create a mask, so you can add a white mask or black mask, doesn't matter. We have a lot of masks here, like this occlusion. As you can see, it's masking only on the darker spots. We can try this paint hold and invert. Now we can customize a little bit the mask. I'm really not happy with this texture I put on the color, so let's work with just this blue here, and we can add a little bit of information, raising the height of the paint. The paint is shining. We can add a map here to control the roughness. It's amazing because we have infinite possibilities working with Substance Painter. It's incredible how it works. We have no limits here, so we can play around with these textures. Let's say we want to make it horizontal also. I'll have some variations. We can add another layer of paint, like if these wood planks were painted more than one time as the years passed by. So let's choose another color like this, and we can change the mask. Let's create a mask from the scratch. We can add a generator. Let's raise a little bit this. Raise the contrast. We can add textures to help the mask to be more rich. Let's put some grunge here and this other grunge. We can play with the thickness, position, with the ambient occlusion. Let's add a little bit of that textures that we just put before. Let's lower the global balance. We can invert also. So we have two layers of paint. We can change the roughness of them, like one paint is older than another one. And to finalize, we can create some kind of dirt or moss. Like here we have some edges with our new fill layer. We can say that this fill layer is dirt. You can play around with here for the contrast. You can say also that this mask will not be 100%, just to. And this is how I've created my textures. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about the final scene and how I've made the layout. So we're going to start by the clouds. The clouds are not an image, a flat image. Actually, they are some OpenVDB. They are free from Travis David's Gumroad. So this Gumroad is really nice with a lot of stuff, so you should consider open it and take a while seeing his products. And these clouds are really amazing. So let's take a look on the overall scene now. As you can see, there's a lot of details. These blocks are proxies of small grasses, small chunks of grasses, and you can see some stones and leaves. This part on my mouse there is some gravel, like I've shown you before. Consider always to lower the display percentage, because otherwise the scene will be really heavy. Small details everywhere doesn't come free. For this carpet, I used Xgen from Maya. For the roof, I used the Ornatrix, and I've exported from Substance Painter some maps of the moss. Then I used it in Ornatrix to scatter on the roof. For the ropes, I used Ornatrix. It's really simple. About that hills in the background, you can see that they are really simple, just some random textures, because the background is really blurred because of the depth of field, so I didn't waste a lot of time in that. These flower sacks, I made the fur with Ornatrix. Also, for this pile of logs, I used a plugin made by Aaron Deblo, and it's called Debris Maker 2. It's amazing. There are lots of options in this plugin. I use it only to make this pile of logs, and you should consider taking a look as well on this. On Megascans, you have a lot of content, and even free content. These mushrooms on the side of the pile of logs, I've downloaded from Megascan's site. They are free. They're amazing, really detailed, and to be honest, was the last element I put in the scene, because I thought that was missing some details and some colors on this part of the scene. As I said before, always put your effort on what appears. You can see the back of the house. There's no details, there's nothing, because it makes no sense wasting time working on it. This is just some still image after all. And that tree is really big, out of the scale. I've put to cast shadows on the foreground flowers, so these details will make a huge difference on your scene. And as you can see, there are some flowers flying. I did this way to frame better the house. It's important to the composition. They are a little bit bigger than the other ones. It's important to keep the focus in the house. So the trees and the flowers helps to keep the attention on the main element of this piece. The poly count of the scene is quite high. In the tower and these wood planks, I've exported from ZBrush. As if I remember well, it's the second subdivision level. I did this to keep more details on the displacement, but this scene is a partnership between Wacom and me. At the same time, it's kind of a personal project. No one will touch it, so I took the freedom to make my own way. I mean, it's not exaggerated, the poly count, but maybe in a production scene it should be a little bit lower. Now I'm going to show you how I've made the scattering of the elements. I used an old plugin called SP Paint 3D. You can find it on Creative Crash. It's free. Some people will like to use Xgen or Mesh from Maya, but I don't know. I really love this plugin. It's really easy to use. First thing, you have to select your target surface, in this case the ground. Always remembering let the instance option turn it on, because you don't want to duplicate the proxies. The scene will be so heavy, so always work with proxies and instances. This will help to save a lot of VRAM from your video card if you're using a GPU render. And now I'm going to load some proxies that I've created for the project. Let's open the bluebell flower. Yes, this flower I intended to make blue, but in the end I thought that wasn't fitting well in the composition, and now they're red. The scale of this flower is really off the scene because I modeled it on other default scene and I didn't bother matching the scales, but there's no problem. You can make some randomization in rotation and scale and transform attributes. So we want to make the rotation from 0 to 360 and a little bit variation on the scale, like 0.6 and on 1.1 or maybe 0.8. So this is important because otherwise all the flowers will look the same. We want also remember to put the pivot where you want to the element contact on the target surface. So I'm putting the pivot on the bottom of the flower, and now you have two options to scatter the elements. You can use the paint, so you can click and drag and paint the elements where you want to, or you can use the place button that you can click and drag and you place wherever you want the elements. So one thing that is amazing also is that you can have a lot of elements in the same stroke. So let's select some gravel and maybe these wooden boxes there, and as you can see now it's randomized. Sometimes we'll show the gravel, sometimes we'll create a wooden box. This is amazing because you can have a lot of kinds of flowers and stones and little trunks. This makes your scene really rich. So don't save any efforts on this stage. The ground is just a Blender material with Blender displacement. I will not gonna cover this now, it's just some technical stuff. And on Vertex Library YouTube channel you can find the really rich and great tutorial covering this. Actually, with this tutorial I've learned to blend displacement. It was when I was doing my previous project, that one about the Belle's house, Belle's cottage, and never underrate the importance of a good ground. It can make all the difference